Stop underestimating your buyer. Welcome back to the Sales Pulse podcast, where real sales skills replace safe scripts. So I'm Marla Koupal, your sales fluency guide. I've been helping people for decades get out of that habit of using a script, getting into the comfort of their own language, their own natural resiliency and ability to have a conversation with others. There should be no more pressure in a sales conversation than you might have with friends at coffee. After decades of coaching and selling, my level of frustration is always with how people are skipping over how to understand and know the buyer or know the person that is in front of you. I see training that I had 50 years ago not sound any different than today. It's just packaged differently. Everyone is trying to say, here's what introverts can say, here's what introverts can do to be brave and to get out there. Selling is not about bravery. It's about bringing your humanity to a conversation with someone who has a need, and you can serve that need. It's not about your urgency to be the center of the universe and to make sales. Of course, that is the goal, but it's not your approach that you have all the answers and that you must make sales from this person. No one ever wants to be a quota. So I have one question for you. Why are you skipping over the buyer? Look back at all the sales training you've had in the past and how many of them really spend much time on the buyer. Most of the training is showing you how to stay in control. It's showing you how to manage the conversation. It's showing you how, well, if the person just knows this, of course they'll give you a yes. And what you all know from your personal experience is that you're getting resistance. You're getting resistance from the buyer to listen to you or to accept what you say as powerful or appropriate for them. And why? Because you missed the critical piece. So your job is to trust the buyer's intelligence for making decisions. There's no script for that. Your skill is in trusting the buyer's intelligence to make great choices. So how does that mean you help? Well, that means you have to come in with really discerning from that person in front of you what's going on in their life. What created the need for today to find something or to start exploring? If you go in with, I'm going to control this and tell them this, this, and this, and therefore they will buy, you are already in a losing proposition. This morning I was reading out of my book from David Brooks called How to Know a Person. And he says something very, very well that I like, and so I'm going to read it to you so that I get it clear. We underestimate how much others want to talk. We underestimate how much we will learn from listening to them. And we underestimate how quickly people will get deep and personal. It doesn't take long. It takes a few seconds if you are present for the person in front of you. So those three statements apply to sales. They apply to the sales that's going to work in 2025 and in the future. People are seeing more and more automation. They're feeling more and more left out. They're feeling more and more like you're treating them like a clone. They want the personal touch. And the best way to make a sale is to bring the personal touch to your conversation. So instead of mastering the features and the benefit statements and mastering all the great things about your product and paying attention to, does this person fit in my prefabricated niche? No, you always stay global and you look for conversations in which you can help people filter through the thoughts that they are having until they make choices that are good for themselves. And if you do this the right way, or really in a great open questioning way, those people will find themselves making choices they never thought they'd make, and you will be the beneficiary of the result. Of course, we know you're not going to sell a product to somebody for which the product does not fit, But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking for people who feel there might be a fit with what you have. So now they're into discovering, is there a fit? And you want to honor that space for them, that there could be a fit. If you even have the mindset that this might be a fit for them, but it might not, well, then you have to walk into discovery mode, because you don't want to pitch something that doesn't fit for someone, because it's just a bad experience they're going to remember later that they had with you, that you didn't really listen to them, that you didn't hear them, you didn't get them, and they feel stupid for the decision they make. The last thing you ever want to do with any buyer is have them feel stupid or foolish about a choice they made. That's why you have a conversation that is complete with your sales fluency skills. So buyers have their answers. They have their stories, and they have their feelings and emotions. And that is what you're seeking when you're trying to create a conversation with the buyer. They also have the urgency and the hesitation to make this decision today. You have to listen for their filters so that you will know how to adapt the conversation for their filters. The first rule you all want to follow is don't have any assumptions about the buyer in front of you. Don't have any assumptions about which features and benefits about your product will work for them. In fact, they may come up with a whole new reason for why they want your product. And so don't be surprised when you learn from your buyer. I love the adventure of a sales conversation, and I invite you to do the same. I'd like you to ask yourself this question. When was the last time you walked into a sales conversation in which you did not feel you had to lead and control the conversation? Just remember this one thing. You are not steering the conversation like you're a GPS. You are actually looking at the scenery with the buyer, and you are together coming to the roadside rest that's going to allow you to both collaborate on the purchase and the sale. So one of the ways you partner in driving through this sales conversation with your buyer is to ask open-ended questions. And if any of you have heard me before, you know I repeat this over and over again, but for me, there is no other way to start a conversation. And that is, what is your curiosity today? What drove you to come here today? What caught your attention? What prompted you? Anything to get them to describe what was going on up here in their head and what the behavior is, because they took action to come to you. So you really want to know that, because it's going to tell you a lot about their urgency, their curiosity, and really anything that's weighing on their mind. You can't ignore what the buyer brings to you, because that is your whole conversation. So later on in the conversation, fluency is also when you allow them to think. Just because people don't respond to you very, very quickly after you ask them a question or they have a thought, always use that pregnant pause, that great 5 to 7 seconds in which, the rest of the story comes out. And those are the key moments that are going to give you the feeling like you're on the right track, that there is a great possibility that something could happen, and that you be in a partnership with them at the end in which they feel very comfortable making the purchase, and you didn't have to overwork to stress how powerful this would be in their life. So if you want to be seen as a trusted advisor, you'll work on sales fluency. Your buyers aren't a puzzle. You don't have to take them apart and figure out what makes them tick. You just basically ask and listen, and they'll tell you how they tick. They all have logic, they all have emotional depth, and they definitely have great decision-making skills. Pay attention to your buyer. You don't ignore them, and you will make more sales. People say yes when they feel understood and not persuaded, not over-spammed with features and benefits. There's usually, in the first 3 to 5 minutes, the seller misses something key and critical. They miss the buyer's sense of humor. They miss the buyer's stress. They miss understanding or qualifying or asking about any of those things. And that is the critical turning point. Stop ignoring the buyer. Pay attention to the buyer. If you get any more training where it's saying you just need to say this, you just need to say that, then somebody is selling you on how to be in control. I'm going to show you how to be in control by being out of control and create your fluency. The one thing that I know that will work for all of us to be successful in sales is to be curious. So remember, scripts are based on assumed buyer behaviors. Scripts are based on features and benefits. And they're based on that fabricated niche you have. And that is just not going to get you the sale. So people will open up faster if you're just ready to listen to them. They'll share their priorities. They'll share their frustrations about past sales conversations. So here's your assignment for the week. I want you to review your sales conversations, or if you have a few of them scheduled, I want you to really look at what are the pure open-ended questions that you could ask this week to get a conversation going. Also, I want you to think about pausing 5 to 7 seconds in areas where you usually just race in with another answer, you race in with another feature and benefit. The only way you improve sales is with self-observation. Tune in every week to the Sales Pulse podcast. It launches every Tuesday on all of your podcast apps. Follow, subscribe, or connect with me. I'm Marla Koupal, your sales fluency guide.